Today I want to talk about mid-range naked bikes. You know them, KTM Duke 790, Yamaha MT-09, Triumph Street Triple. They're fun, they're exciting, they're agile, but none of them are really scary, except maybe for one.
Feast your eyes upon this. It's the new Kawasaki Z900, a bike that sometimes goes unnoticed in mid-range naked circles, mostly because it doesn't attend parties, because it's too busy sitting in its lair, crunching through the bones of its enemies.
It does look mean, you know, like a mamba stalking its prey, and then it's going to jump up and bite your face off at like the last minute. You know, I think we better get further away. Yeah, excuse me.
This is typical of Kawasaki, the world's most mental motorcycle manufacturer. They don't build bikes that are necessarily pretty. While other bike makers are designing pin-up models, Kawasaki is designing the monster that's going to end them. Despite my trepidation, I'm still going to have to ride it. Now, normally we would head to some out-of-the-way location, but with lockdown, Johannesburg is empty.
So, all the roads are pretty much empty. We've got an essential workers permit so we can move around. Yeah, I say let's make hay while the sun shines, hey?
And thus we begin our Isle of Johannesburg TT. Many would suggest that a superbike would be more fitting for these purposes, but I'm not so sure.
People often forget about this. My favorite thing about naked bikes is the fact that you're sort of unencumbered. Everything around you is completely open. And a lot of people are like, yeah, you know, you need good wind resistance, you know, stop the wind. Yeah, sure, if you're doing 1,000,000 kilometers in a day at speed, yeah, sure, but on this racetrack called Johannesburg, you don't need any of that. And the fact is, it just sort of opens everything up. Look at it, it's all kind of open. I feel more sort of part of it, part of the environment, part of the riding. It's pure, it's like pure riding. And I love that.
The chassis is pretty straightforward, and very much the same as on the previous model, but with extra strength around the swing arm pivot. On Johannesburg's slippery roads, it works just fine.
This entire bike is simple. I mean, it's got electronic aids, but it's not, I don't know, you don't really think about them. They're not really necessary. But it all works, which is kind of fun. Here we go, through a corner. Sort of light, sort of responsive, sort of bit of everything. I'm a big fan.
Of course, there's more to the new Z900 than a swing arm pivot, and most of it is electronical. There's a new traction control, new rider modes, there's new phone connectivity, and all goes through the new TFT dash.
What's interesting about this bike is that it's got this TFT dash, which I kind of like, and it's all blacked out, which I like even more. It's like sort of futuristic, but sort of Killer Instinct at the same time, kind of like those killer robots from the Matrix.
That's all great, but we're avoiding the elephant in the room, that motor. The Z900 uses a 948cc 4-cylinder Screamer motor, pushing a class-leading 125 horsepower, and that's quite a thing.
I remember not that long ago, Kawasaki had a bike called the ZX9R, and it was feared among men. It had this big brutish motor, and everybody feared it. Now a 900 is a mid-range motorcycle. It's like, oh, only a 900, that's sweet. Not so sweet on this one though, because it packs a punch. Put into sport mode, they've got rain mode, they've got road mode, and ignore all of those modes, put in a sport mode and just stay there, and suddenly it's very fast. Whoa! I love going fast. The thing about 4-cylinder motors is they're not the most charismatic kind of characterful motors, like the twins and the cross-plane motors and all of that, but when you open the throttle, they certainly pack a punch. 900 and something cc of fury.
Nice piece, but Don. Public roads around Johannesburg look like sort of city centre-ish. Really, I mean, you full leathers, really acting like it's a racetrack. I want to say well done, but this is television land, so I'll probably write him a written warning after the show's finished. Almost definitely. So it's the sort of bike that really encourages that kind of behaviour, isn't it? Now, I haven't ridden this new one, obviously, but I did ride last year's model and absolutely loved it to bits. I get the impression you feel the same.
I did, in fact. I didn't get to ride the last one. This is the first time I've ever ridden a Z900. And to be quite frank with you, when I first kind of got the call saying, hey, we've got a Z900, do you want to ride it? I kind of thought, all right, what am I going to say about this? 4-cylinder, screamer, mid-range, because we've been drilled into us that a bike needs to be a, what's it called, those cross-plane motors, or it needs to be a twin, or it needs to be a triple, and we're kind of, and this goes from like 10 years ago, where like a 4-cylinder screamer is like, getting really boring now. But now I'm riding one again for the first time in quite a long time. I'm kind of going, hey, remember this? It's pretty cool.
I saw you were behaving responsibly. The front wheel did appear to be lifting, and at some points, both wheels were off the ground, Donovan.
That was involuntary. It's road conditions. I'm going to speak to the council.
Are you indeed? Are you? I thought it was this entirely
Yes.
new testing method that you'd got. In low-level flight, the Z9 behaves really well.
It does behave when your wheels are a little bit off the ground. Yeah, it's true.
Well, I tell you what, from the information you gave us there on your test, as I said, I really did enjoy the Z900. But I think they've improved it. They haven't spoilt it in any way. They've just added to it. My only complaint last year was that there were no electronics. It came without even traction control, believe it or not. All that stuff is now there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got the TFT dash. It's got connectivity to the phone, traction control, rider modes, ABS, the full work.
In this middleweight naked class, it's a crowded space and there are some great bikes in there. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of performance, where does it stack up in terms of price?
Oh, well, here's the interesting thing. I mean, I can read you some of the prices here. Duke 890, KTM Duke 890 is 190,000 Rand. The Street Triple, 170,000 Rand. MT09, basically 170,000 Rand. Monster 821, 165,000 Rand. Duke 790, 160,000 Rand. So you can see sort of there. The Z900, 156,000 Rand. It is the cheapest in the class.
And you read out all those bikes and we used to say, oh, yeah, boring 4-cylinder bike, but actually the Kawasaki is the only 4-cylinder bike there. Most of them are twins and there's a couple of triples, so it's the unique, rare option.
I know, this is now the cool one, you know what I mean? It's the one that stands out from all the others, you know? It did feel good to be back on a 4-cylinder screamer. I miss it, actually. I mean, there was a time 10 years ago it was boring as hell. I miss it. And I got on and I thought, wow, this is fun.
Yeah, it's a great engine. And horsepower-wise, it's, what was it, 125 is it making?
125, yeah.
And now, that stacks up very favourably as well.
Well, okay, let's look at some of the others. Duke 790 is 105. Monster 821 is 109. MT09 is 114. The Duke 890, the new one coming, is 119. And the only one that comes close to it is the Street Triple, the 765. That's at 121. But I look at the torque; it's like 20 Newton meters down on torque. So it's a higher horsepower, but it's all kind of revvy in the top end. Just performance-wise, that Z900 is just it should be in another class. It should be like mid-range plus or something class. Yes. You know what I mean? It is mid-range plus, but cheaper than everything else. And a lot of people will be saying a 900, or it's actually a 948cc. That's not a mid-range. According to the price, it is. It's cheaper than all the others, with a bigger motor, with more performance. I dare I say, a no-brainer.